How's it going, everyone? This is Anon. No, this is financial advice. Mainly, we're going to just be doing. Let me just see if I can even open this up. Give me a second. Mainly, just came on to say sorry for missing the stream. Had to have a conversation with the wife that was, very important. So, what's up, Raid? What's up, Jerry? Sorry for the late start. I was just basically talking to the wife, and we had a serious conversation. So, we wanted to make sure I got on here just to say hi, answer any questions, because I know obviously some things are going on. Mainly just want to do two things, which are cover DTC, which will go on tomorrow. Wife, what up? Yeah, the wifey and I needed to talk, and I know she's, this is one of those things where it's not easy. I think, in all fairness, I finish putting the kids down to bed, and then usually we'll say hi to each other, and then I go downstairs and I stream. When I come upstairs, she's asleep, and then we go to work the next morning, and we do it all again. And so we don't spend a whole lot of time with each other right now. So, ATER moon tomorrow? No, I told her, I was like, listen, I need to, focus my attention and energy towards you as well, and it's something I'll work on. So, what's up, HUSA? What's up, Izzy? What's up, Earthium? What's up? I made this chat so I need to redo this because I made the OBS thing too small, and now I can't read it. There we go. Yeah. You know what? I had a pretty good day today on the market. How about you guys? I know it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I had a pretty good day. Let's see. Obviously, Aterian had a pretty nice day. We were up 14% today. Let me see. Where is... Oh, thank you. I was going to say, it's one of those NFTs. I thought it was a cool kind of This was actually by the same controversial artist that got in trouble for the GameStop NFT marketplace. I had picked up one of his pieces, and this is one of them. I've even dabbled a little bit myself, doing some fun things. Let's see. Where is... I'm actually working on trying to do an image for myself that will be sort of like mine, but like a variation of it. So, the ones I've come up with those so far have not been great. But I figure I need to do something. I don't want to, steal other people's work. And obviously, the one piece that I did was the head exploding thing. Like, I just pulled that off the internet somewhere. Okay, after hours late for Aterian, what does that mean? The SI went down. Let me pull up. Let's take a look, because I didn't have a chance really to look today. I was doing a whole bunch of... My boss came and sat with me, and basically we went over a bunch of stuff the majority of the day. So let's take a look at all this stuff together. Going in blind. It's funny, you see all these headlines. Just reading through here. How they word things is really interesting, because they try to make you... look at this. They miss expectations by 9 cents. Yeah, the ghost face bow tie NFT, huh? No, I won't put it out as an NFT. It will be a one of one. Yeah, after hours typically doesn't mean a whole lot. In fact, that was a nice bounce, though, right? Because that was what earnings was on the 8th, right? So this was the 8th, right? And it was after hours. So then we had that day yesterday, and then boom, right back up. So the 292 mark is a very important kind of line. You'll see actually right there. It's even like marked out on this thing. Like 292, 293, whatever the exact number is. I don't remember off the hand, but it seems to be a very, very important number for Aterian right now. Because things bounce off of it, things run with it, and then use it as support or resistance. So it was a strong level this entire time when they were trying to break this through. They spent like 2 or 3 days trying to break this down, and they did it also back here. When they tried to break it down, it struggled to break down here. It popped up above it, and then they went back down trying to nail it down. And they broke through eventually, but it took them. There was a day that there was 30 attempts to break through the 292 line. So, yeah. Just want to point out super strong level of support and resistance for Aterian. So, breaks above, they push it back down. That sort of thing happens all the time. But let's go into the short stuff. So, okay. So they updated this. Remember I said the other day that they hadn't updated because it still showed like 9 million. Yeah, so it looks like when they did the screen covering, they did some. It looks like they covered a little bit today, and that's actually why utilization probably went down. Was because for the first time in a while, Aterian actually is leaving a whole bunch of shares available. You see here, sometimes they get them all, but they've been leaving a fair amount on the table. And I know somebody was saying, okay, well, are they doing that because they actually looked at the earnings and went, okay, this company's not going under, and they're going to move on to something else? It's possible. I mean, it all depends, right? But I don't think shorts reducing their position really is a bad thing as long as the price. So what we should see, if they have to cover 8 million shares, if they really want to be like out, right, this is going to raise the stock price up, right? If they want to keep paying 30%, cost to borrow and, keep on it, that's fine. But like, I think at some point they need to, do that. So, CJ, my gratitude to the generous Miss Anon who shares you with this community. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, CJ. Appreciate it. Let's see. Anyone else seeing the spoofing around 11 a.m.? Okay, so 11 a.m. Central would have been like around, noon? Let's see. 15 to 19K shares, 2 cents above ask. Bids changed every 10 to 15 seconds, yeah. No, I was going to say, I love you all of you. Especially random, right? Yeah, so here's what I'll say. So I know this is the number that people like, in the short squeeze always look at, right? They're going, okay, well, how much short interest is there of the free float? 26%, or 8 million shares, right? Looks like they covered some today even, according to Ortex on their guest. And like the stock has risen. Like, if you look back in here, like we were down in the like 220s a couple days ago, and so yeah, it looks like they've covered some shares here. They may not want to be as short, especially if the company's starting to do some things. So Yeah, but as far as the utilization, this has gone down. So if I pull back the curtain on this and show you utilization, for the first time in a while, it's gone down, right? So if I pull up the entire chart, you have these long periods, right? We had that long period from like March 8th that had 100%, and it went all the way there. It had these couple dips, but this is the first time in a while that it looks like we have fallen since back here, right? And I think that's actually because of dilution at the time when it fell here. But here, we haven't really had anything significantly dilutive in a while, or at least a couple days. So I don't think it's because of that. So I'm thinking that the only reason why this usually go down is because shorts have actually closed a little bit of their short position. So if you look here, like the fact that they had close to 1 million shares again to actually short, whereas this thing had usually been back in the, over the course of time, it wasn't since basically this part right here, July 29th. So where's July 29th? Here's June, July 29th, right? Is that 29th? That's 30th. Market wasn't open on that day. Wonder why that's hold on. There's July 29th. This day right here. They had 1.9 million shares that day. That's weird. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. For whatever reason, they've got more shares available to them. So that's why the utilization's not 100% right now. So they're saying that the utilization started going down on the 4th, right? August 4th. Well, here's the thing. The dilution hasn't happened yet. I mean, they've already diluted, and the shares outstanding went slightly down, but, like, not that much. Or sorry, the shares outstanding went slightly up, which would, yes, cause more, like, shares to be available, but at the same time, like, I had 69 million as their shares outstanding, so I'm not quite sure why that's. Let's see. Dilution tracker. Let's see if they've updated their stuff. Aterian. Yeah, they haven't updated their stuff either. Here, I'll bring it over. Okay, so if you look here, these warrants are still available. They're all registered, right? Boom. So, yeah, I don't see the dilution. I mean, it happened. They announced it in March, and some of it happened in June, or May, June, right when, like, the stock started, that's when they chose to basically do. And one of the things I was thinking about was, did they push it up because they wanted to get their pre-funded warrants out? Because those things could be exercised at any time. So my thought was then, maybe they were the ones that pushed the stock price up because they knew they were going to go through some dilution. So therefore, they were the ones that actually pushed the stock up, meaning Armistice Capital. Just a thought. I think I said it before that I had a feeling that may have happened, but so people seem to be, like, somewhat worried about, like, utilization not being 100%. Like, it was 100% for a long time, and then on top of that, if you actually kind of look at it, right, over the course of time, like, I mean, it's not like utilization was down here at like 0.35, like less than 1%, like 14% utilization, blah blah blah. I mean, like, when it ran all the way up here, utilization went really, really high, and it's kind of just been chopping around. But I mean, look at down here. It went back down into the 60s, went back into the 60s again. Like, it will fluctuate. Like, not even GameStop. GameStop had a break. And we're also assuming the other thing, which is Vortex is actually reporting some of these numbers incorrectly, is my guess. I know we talked back when Fish was looking at the Bloomberg stuff. Fish actually pointed out that days that we said we were 100% on Ortex, we were not actually 100%. He was like, it's like 97%. It's not actually 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if they did push it up. It happens quite often. Fake pumps can be great, but also terrible for retail. On smaller stocks, you can tell if someone's pay. Yeah, because obviously the volume is a true indicator. Like, if you don't have volume, like if you look here, like this was real. They really actually pumped this up, right? So you had like a good amount of volume. I mean, look at the volume, right? We had massive amounts of volume for this spike. We had a good amount of volume on these spikes also. Like, so some of the shorts do own shares also. Yeah, I would imagine. So here's the thing, right? Like, so a hedge fund literally does what it says, which is they hedge their bets. They do this by basically buying shares. So they buy shares long. And then they buy calls and they buy puts. And then they basically yo-yo it back and forth, making money as long as someone will let them. Yeah, so if Armistice is bound to have, they're not bound to it. This is just typically what most of these companies do, because once you go over 10% ownership, you then have to report anytime you sell shares. Well, that's not ideal for a hedge fund, unless they're saying we really like this company long, we're going to go ahead and just become major owners of this company, right? Most of the time that doesn't happen. So what they do is they buy 9.99% of the stock, and they will then be able to buy and sell whenever they feel like without being questioned, right? So what you would do then is you buy shares, you buy calls, and you buy puts, and then you swing them back and forth, right, making money each way. And eventually, if you like the company, you can, like push it up, take profit, and now you have warrants, and you just do it again, right? So, like, that's kind of like, I think what's happening with Aterian is these guys are basically like a cat with a mouse, right? They're playing with it, they're batting it back and forth, they're letting it go up really high and then shorting it all back down, doing it again, and that's the thing. And when the FTDs and the naked shorts really happened, were on these massive runs when the volume really exploded and retail like FOMO'd in. Same thing for here. And then what they do is they push the price down and try to get retail out. That's typically what they do. But for them to make money, they've got to push it up sometimes to let it go back down. So, like, same thing will happen probably in the future. For anyone that's worried, you would basically just watch and see when they're going to push it up, and then as long as you get to a point where you're like, you understand what's happening, then it's not as scary. Like, I'm not scared down here. There's nothing to me that I know at some point it will pop up again. Like, it's how these stocks run. So, but yeah, like, so what they will probably do is they would push the stock up to maybe like 5, 6, maybe even higher, depends on what they feel like, and then they would short it back down, and then they would use their shares, their like warrants, to dilute, and then do the whole thing again at some point. It's interesting, though. They have all these tools and algorithms, yet many lose 40 to 50% a quarter. Yeah, I mean, so you have to remember, these guys are basically like just people like you and I who happen to have gone, they get on a trade desk and, I can tell you right now, I've got friends who work for a hedge fund that did not major in finance. They were just literally like, they had good connections after college and they ended up at hedge funds where they taught them this stuff. But like, it wasn't like these guys were like, quants or anything. These guys were like just buddies of mine who, didn't know what they were going to do. They were usually business majors. So they kind of like had the basic understandings and then they just train them. So just want to throw that out there that they can make pretty big mistakes too. But hedge funds, they're supposed to be doing it this way. And this is actually how I'm going into DTC tomorrow. I took some profit today. And I know, Angry will, he was going to get upset about that. But I said, listen, I'm just trying to do this the right way, which is I don't know what DTC's earnings are going to be tomorrow. So what I did was I have shares long. I sold some shares to take some profiting because I was up 30% on the stock, and I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And so instead of giving it all back, I decided I was going to take a little bit of profit. And so I still have a good amount of shares. I bought some extra $10 calls to just in case things explode tomorrow. And then I also bought 750 puts for September on the stock. So here's my plan. My trade plan is basically this. If it's an earnings beat and it's an amazing, pump and everything's great, then I will take some of the losses on the puts, sell immediately, and then switch them over to, shares and leaps. However, if it's a earnings miss and the stock tanks, because that stock, is very volatile, it doesn't take much to send it up or down, I will go ahead and sell those puts for profit and then buy in common shares lower. That's my trade plan. So I'm still long on the stock, but I'm giving myself an opportunity to basically average down and have it paid for by my hedge. So that's my personal plan for it. It seems like other things are missing, and so I decided that I would. I didn't take like a huge. It's big. It's not like it's. I think about 25% 25 to like 30% of the entirety of like the stuff I'm long. So. Let's see. That's interesting. I met a man a month ago through a mutual friend that told me his son graduated top of his class, huge Ivy League, and a large fund whom we hate offered him a job as a market maker for $400K starting. They can offer me a $400K. Nah, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, they're paying a lot of money. Nice words, Mortimer. I met a man about a dog. Yeah, I've always said, listen, they can't buy me. I have too much hate for them. I'm a former Marine. I don't like bullies. And I feel like Wall Street is just one big bully. And personally for me, I couldn't do it. So I'll never sell out. I'll never start pushing, anything I'm doing, I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking at and why I'm looking at it. Never going to blindly be like, this is something you should support. I want you guys to do your own research. And so that's kind of where I've always stood and will continue to stand. I may not be right on everything, but at the same time, I'm going to at least show you what I'm seeing. And if you guys think I'm wrong, you can call me out on it and we can talk about it. But I'm never going to sell out to the corporate side. I'm not looking to take a job in finance. I'm looking to basically be a retail trader who sometimes streams, and that's always been kind of the goal was, eventually if I could quit my day job and do this full time. But, obviously it was a lot easier at the time when things were amazing on Aterian. That's the only stock we were really talking about. I think it's fair, though, to open it up and talk about all stocks at this point. And, Aterian will run again for anyone that's worried. It's not even like a if, it's when. It's just this stock, because of how it is and because of the community that's been built around it, will continue always being probably a thorn in the side of shorts. So, I mean, if this stock was completely over, they still are charging, 40% for cost to borrow into the 30s. It's still high. You have to remember, this has been this way for a long time. If you look at the cost to borrow on the stock, it's been above 25 for a year. So they're paying decent, fees on these things. I mean, this is 100-something% up here. You can see we're coming back down, but this was a $6 or 6% cost to borrow, and it's skyrocketed up, and now it's coming back down. But it will go through these spikes, so it's not entirely cheap. I mean, you have to remember it's only on 21 million shares or $21 million worth of shares, so it's not a huge short position for a lot of these big guys. But just saying, you will see probably another spike at some point. And so for anyone that's worried about that, I always tell them, listen, where the warrants are. They're going to have to run it up. If that's when you want off the roller coaster, that's fine. For me, I would probably sell my options during that time and then just turn those things into shares. That's my goal, is just gathering shares on this company long term, because I want to see, my thought and my hope is that someday when this starts turning around and this company is really ready to go and institutions go to buy in on the stock, there's no more shares for them to buy because retail had been here and bought. But, what do you think about the hostile takeover at BBIG? I opened a position at 69 last Thursday prior to it halting. Okay. So, Joel, here's my whole thing, right? I think that BBIG, I had a couple issues with them, and I'll kind of just explain to you real quick why I felt the way I did, right? So I remember reading about MoviePass in a college class, a business class I took, and it was literally the textbook, this is what you don't do. It was literally in one of our field operation, when we were going through and looking at how companies run, it was a do not do, look at this company did. And the CEO, chairperson of that was Ted Farnsworth, who is obviously known by the BBIG community. And I've always viewed the guy as a con artist who didn't have a ton of business sense. And, this is obviously just me, a poor, nobody talking. But, I went to business school, and I took business classes. And to me, that guy just reeks of a, used car salesman, not someone you would. And so when I saw people, putting their faces up, his face up, and being this guy's the savior of the I'm like, you guys don't know this guy. I literally did a report on him of what not to do in a company. So anyway, so when I heard he was getting involved, I was like, this is not good for this company, because he brings drama. He's just, it's rough. So what ends up happening now is BBIG, obviously, and Zash, that's his company, and they're like, well, we raised all the money, and then they're like, I think the best way I can describe it is companies that should not get that messy. Yeah, BBIG got super messy, and that's not what good companies and good management do. And it's unfortunate for the shareholders. And to be honest with you, BBIG's mods for that Reddit community did themselves a huge disservice by not addressing anything that was, like out there that was relevant. So the whole reason why, like, I chose Aterian at the time was because it had a smaller float and nobody was diluting on me, which they were doing on BBIG. And I felt like everyone was like, well, you're the ATER guy. If you say anything else about any other stock, you must be spreading FUD. And I kept trying to, like, say, listen, like, I own a little bit of BBIG, but, like, you guys have to realize that there are warrants here. And literally, I was told that was FUD. And I'm like, warrants are not FUD. Warrants are real, and warrants are dilutive. And they were like, you're spreading FUD, and they banned me from the sub. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you guys are doing a huge disservice. So I wrote a piece explaining dilution on short squeeze. And Joel could be potential spam. Okay. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think it's that unreasonable to think that somebody from the short squeeze community would be asking about BBIG. But yeah, I mean, to me at least, BBIG, they need to get their stuff together and they need to be transparent with their shareholders. And those mods over in the Reddit community honestly should not have been censoring things that were relevant to their company. Yeah. It's fine, Random. I don't think he's a bot or anything. I think he literally has a question about the company because, I mean, the biggest thing for them right now they can do is be transparent with their shareholders. And I hope they do. And honestly, like, if you bought it at 69, what's the stock at now? Let's Vinco. How they do? Were they back today? 71. Yeah, so like if you're up 2 cents, yeah, that's fine. Like but just remember, you've got a lot of shares outstanding. 233 million shares outstanding, right? So like the chances, I mean, you would have to really be like really I just want to, all right, let me explain market cap real quick, just to anyone that's new or doesn't quite know how this all works, right? So when you do, for example, all right, so we say we have 233,140,000, right? That's how many shares are out there for BBIG, right? Okay, right now the stock is 71 cents. So that would give it a $165 million dollar, 0.5 market cap, right? Now, take that same number, the 233,140,000, and now let's say for some people who bought in and have like a $3 to $5, let's just say $3 average, right? You would have to have almost a $700 million market cap to get back up to that. And this is a company that's been bleeding for a while. They have cash, but they've been bleeding for a while. And they need to figure out how to turn that cash that they raised through all this dilution here into a functioning product that actually, goes through and, like sells things and makes money. Like they need to generate income. And to get to $3 where some of the people are sitting right now, BBIG, who've been, averaging down, but they started at like 10, then it's going to take a long time to try to get to that market cap again, especially if you're not bringing in that much, because at this point they're still not cash positive, right? So if we go here, all right, so you this is a stock that when these things started out had 14 million shares, and they've added 200 and something million, 220 million, and they still have more dilution on the table too. Like, and here's the thing, they're burning cash like you wouldn't believe. Like, they're like that $42 million a quarter. They diluted onto their shareholders multiple times. Look at all these dilutions, right? All these dilutions, all this dilution, right? And what do they have to show for it at the end of the day? What do they have to show for it? Like, they've got about less than a year, half a year's cash left based off their cash burn. And like, they launched off a separate company, and I mean, I don't know. Yeah, this is how you alienate your shareholders, is when you basically do stuff like this and you hugely dilute on them, and then you have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. Like, they're going to need cash again too if they keep burning it at the rate they're doing. Like, at least Aterian said slowed down. Like, this is not sustainable, and I blame management for that. Like, it sounds like they're inept. Like, I don't know. So that's just my thought on them. Is they're a mess. Like, they need to be transparent with their shareholders, and I think at this point right now, you have to just realize that, like, there's a good amount of dilution that's already happened to this company, and they still need money. So, and I get that that's a way for a lot of these companies to raise money in the beginning, and they hope eventually they'll turn profitable. But, like, I don't know. Like, I looked at their app. I didn't think it was that impressive, and I don't know where their ad revenues, like, it doesn't seem like they're getting that much. So, anyway. Yeah. Okay. So it's past midnight. Do you guys have any questions or anything? I mainly just wanted to come on here and apologize that I wasn't able to get on earlier, but I think it was important to talk to the wife and tell her I'll do better as far as, like, giving her more attention, and so I think what we decided is if we're able to, we have to start putting the kids to bed a little bit earlier. That way she and I can spend like half an hour, 45 minutes talking, and then I'll come down and stream for you guys, and she can watch her shows and whatever. So, all right. Well, sorry for just jumping on and running, but I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. And I'm super interested to see what DTC does tomorrow, because if they do beat for whatever reason, that's gonna probably fly, and if it misses, I'll be there to take those puts and average down and do that. But yeah, I did want to come on here and at least say hi to you guys. All right. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'm hoping to get the DD out tomorrow. I did work on it the last 2 days, and I should be able to put it out, I think, tomorrow. So, Aterian DD to be dropping tomorrow. All right. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you